full of stats.
Engage Vernon.
I'm your new wingman.
We will win because we have.
Welcome to CommLink.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the CommLink Podcast. I'm Stubb, and I'm joined as always by Silvius. How you doing, buddy?
I'm great, man. ISC is back this week, so it's a good week.
Yeah, good times. Good times. They were a little quiet there for a while, but yeah, Jared has finally made the triumphant return with Inside Star Citizen. We just watched that and actually recorded a reaction video before recording this podcast. So by the time you're hearing this show, that'll be up on the channel. Also, quick reminder for everybody before we get into the show, we do have a Drake Cutter Rambler giveaway happening over on our Twitter page at CommLink Pod. So the pinned post at the top of our page there will give you all the details. And we're also on Instagram at CommLink Pod as well. So be sure to give us a follow there too, if you don't mind. And hey, while we're already making plugs for things, if you don't mind, maybe go ahead and like and subscribe if you enjoyed this episode. All right, so let's get into it. Everybody's favorite event, Siege of Orison, is back in Star Citizen. I believe it's running until February 5th. I want to say.
Sounds
I think it's Monday. Yeah. And the other night we attempted Siege of Orison yet again. I can't remember if you've ever completed Siege of Orison. I know I have not. Have you done it all the way through?
Nope.
Okay, so yeah, another attempt was made, and it was not fruitful. Unfortunately, we were not able to complete Siege of Orison. However, I still had a lot of fun with it, man. So one of those random things happened. Part of the beauty of the MMO sandbox nature of Star Citizen. So there we were. It was me, yourself, and our friend Rasva. Attempting to do Siege of Orison, and lo and behold, as we're making our way through it, another group of players show up, including one person wearing a suit, not a space suit, but like suit with a jacket and tie and dress pants and everything, with a very familiar voice. And it turned out we bumped into none other than Astropub and a party that he was doing Siege of Orison with, and so we just kind of tagged along for the adventure for as long as we could. And that was a ton of fun. So I enjoyed it. I wish we could have actually completed it. There was an issue where a lieutenant was not spawning in. We would check the platform, like different locations multiple times. It wasn't happening. So we called it quits on Siege of Orison, but I thought it was enjoyable up to that point, but man, there's still Orison bugs. They're still out there.
Yeah. It was really cool running into Astropub and his group. That was a lot of fun running around with them. And not to pat myself on the back, but I did save Astropub twice. So
yeah, you did. Always the man.
Astro, if you need space medics, mercenaries for hire that will watch your back, hit us up. We'll come help you out. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. Despite the fact that we didn't get to finish it. I've tried that mission at least a dozen times now. And whether it's the shuttle not showing up at the beginning, or a lieutenant not spawning, or the anti-air not turning off,
yep,
or the ships falling out of the sky when you get into them, I've just never been able to complete it. But the times when it is working and you're moving through the platforms with your team, it's a lot of fun, and the gunfights are really fun. And I don't have a lot of chances to use snipers in the game, and it's a good exercise for sniping. So yeah, I mean, the frames are leagues beyond what they were when Siege first released, because I couldn't even play it when it first came out. But now it's mostly smooth as far as frames go. It's playable. But yeah, it's just little things here and there that have kept us from finishing it.
Yeah, but it was cool experience this time around for sure. And it does feel like Siege is getting to a point where I don't know, man. Like in the community, it almost feels like a meme when it comes back around.
Yeah, I know
So-
orgs, like, especially ones that are able to complete it, like, it's probably one of the most fun, interactive, like, fully, you have to plan stuff for a larger group of people to do. There's not a lot of things you can go do with 10 plus people.
Right.
So as far as that goes, yeah, it's great. Like, especially
If you can
it's cool.
progress through it, if
Yeah.
it doesn't bug out. Yeah.
The only thing I don't like about Siege is the artificial way they keep you from flying your own ships there, which I get because of the nature of the mission and stuff, where you have to take the vehicles to other platforms, yada yada. But yeah, I don't know. It's just that artificial like barrier where they just impound your ship as soon as you get close to the platforms. Just it feels weird in an open world environment where you're supposed to be able to do like whatever. But
in the verse without boundaries.
yeah, so I do have a little issue with it in that way, but like I said, I do understand kind of why they do it, but I wonder if we'll see stuff like Siege in instances in the future. Not necessarily like loading screens, but you take like how the freight elevators are going to be instanced off in the
Yep.
future. The doors close, you're in your own instance. So maybe you take an elevator down, the doors close, that's your instance for your party, whatever, that's what you get to do. I don't know how they'll work that out, but yeah.
I mean,
don't
once
know.
server meshing's online, like it should for sure basically have its own shard or whatever, right?
Yeah, I guess, but that's still not going to allow them to remove that like artificial barrier.
Yeah.
Even if you were a team of, say they have 50 people on a shard and it's just for the platforms. If you have a group of 50 people doing Siege, I still don't think that prevents them from having to do that, because you have 49 people and that one other person comes into the shard, and it can mess up the whole how it works.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes me question the overall design choices made with Siege then. Like it makes it feel like an event that does not fit within the game.
Yeah, it does sort of feel like that sometimes.
Which is, I don't know. I don't want to harp on Siege too much, because it has come a long way from when it was first introduced. And I did have a fun time with it this past time, even if it wasn't a successful one as far as gameplay goes. So I don't know. I don't have a whole lot more to say on Siege other than, I know in the most recent patch they said that there were a lot of bug fixes for Siege. I'm sure there were, but obviously it still needs more. It just does. It needs more work. And I don't know how much of a priority I want that to be at the same time versus other things in the game. Like, I feel like I would almost be okay if Siege was just turned off and left on the back burner for a while and let the devs focus on something else.
Kind of how Xenothreat has been.
Yeah.
How long has it been since we've seen Xenothreat?
It's been a while, and I think that's going to continue to be the case until there's changes made with the server tech.
Yeah.
So
I guess Siege of Orison is a good exercise for CIG, is how they can do raids and improve them and iterate on them in the future. And they needed to see how players would react to this open world raid, basically, and how people would try and grief it or play the other side of it, if you don't want to.
Right.
It's not necessarily griefing. Yeah, so like you just said, until they get server meshing and shards and replication layer and all that in, I feel like their events are going to have to be structured in a different way once all of that is in. So I understand them wanting to get dynamic events out and have events for the community and stuff and test things. They obviously need to test things. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they solve this open world issue with raids, especially with server meshing in the future.
Yeah. But I would, I don't think it would maybe make total sense to do this, but I also wouldn't be angry if Siege was just something you went into Arena Commander to do for the time being until the server stability gets better.
I think I mentioned that while we were doing it.
Yeah.
I was like, "What? They could just do this in a module with you can take 50 people, up to 50 people in and do it or something." And it would let CIG test the mechanics of it, while also not having to put up that artificial barrier. But I don't know how big of a task that is to put something like that in a module, so.
Right. But something needs to get better still. I think it's just where we're at with Siege. But I did see some people online saying that they've been able to successfully complete it this time around. So, there are people out there having successes, but when we did it and bumped into Astropub, but even before that, when we tried to do it at least once or twice on different servers, and got the issue where just shuttles weren't showing up to even take you to the event. So
yeah, we had to hop like 3 or 4 servers just to find a working shuttle to even get to the event. So
yeah, I don't even know where by the time we were playing with Astro, I don't know if we were on Australia or Europe or if we had made our way back to US servers. I don't know, but we hopped around for sure.
Yeah. So tell us in the comments down below if you've had success with Siege of Orison, because I don't know anybody personally that has. I've obviously seen people post about it and stuff, but if you guys have had success with it, or if you have suggestions of how they can make it better, let us know. We want to hear about it.
Yeah, for sure. Like, especially if you've had the opportunity to do it at different times of the day. Like, I wonder if, if you were to try it at, say, 10 o'clock in the morning versus 8 p.m. at night, if you wouldn't have better performance just because there's less people on and maybe the servers aren't as much stress, or if it basically feels the same regardless. I don't know. But yeah, I think that's enough for Siege for right now. They'll keep working on it, and I might want to try it at least one more time before it goes offline again. But yeah, so ISC is back. You want to talk some Inside Star Citizen?
Yeah, we just did our React video, so if you haven't checked that out yet, you can go watch it. But it was about EVA and the new interaction systems.
Yeah. So
they both look really good.
They do. The EVA stuff, again, I thought it looked really smooth. I thought it looked natural. I think it could still use some more polish. There was maybe still some slight jankiness to some of the movement there, but overall, well beyond the current state of EVA in the game. It looks good. It looks really good. Like you, I'm a little bummed. I think that the 0G traversal is not going to be in right away when we get the new EVA system. But overall, I think, again, this is one of those changes made to the game that's going to be a great benefit to all types of players in the game, because at some point we all end up in 0G regardless of what we're trying to accomplish in the game. So
yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a big change, and I talk about this all the time. It's just I know people personally that don't play the game just because not because of the 30Ks or having to deal with crashes or whatever. It's just almost like the death by 1,000 cuts thing. Is the EVA doesn't work, and then the interactions are a pain to use, and then your ship doesn't turn on correctly, or yada yada yada. And I think this is going to be one of those updates that cuts out some of those wounds that are inflicted on new players and veterans alike. You know, just it's just something that was 100% needed, and it looks way better than what we have now. And I'm excited to be able to traverse, especially ships and stuff, in 0G, because gosh, going from like one ship to another, that's one thing, but trying to like go on a soft death ship or loot or whatever on a ship without gravity on it was a pain, to say the least.
Yeah, it's awful. It's awful. And I don't mean to just shit on their work, but in that ISC, they talked about how it wasn't a bad system. It's like, no, there's a reason why you are replacing the system, and there's a reason why the community desperately wants this change, because the current system is bad. Like it's neat, the first time you do it or whatever, but you don't have to try to handle it very long and run into all of the jank that comes with it before it starts to hit you like, oh, this isn't good.
Yeah.
It's just not. So I'm happy for the new one to come online for sure. And I know CIG is as well. As far as those UI updates go, man, there have been so many times where we're doing an FPS mission and either I'm trying to pick up a dead enemy's weapon, and instead it's only letting me select to loot their armor, or instead I'm trying to loot something from their armor instead of selecting the weapon or whatever. Like, it's so difficult to grab things or to properly select things when there is the slightest bit of clutter on the screen. It's so difficult to navigate. I mean, there's definitely been times where I've been trying to loot somebody and just kind of cussing at the game or whatever, because you want to get back into the fight or whatever it is, or just because it's annoying that it's happening to begin with. The looting system in this game, one, for context for anybody new to Star Citizen, hasn't been in the game all that long anyway, the current inventory system that we have. But kind of like the EVA, it also has not been great for the time that we've had it. It's better than nothing, but very frustrating all the same. And the new updates that they showed in ISC this week, the new updates that they showed back at CitizenCon last year, look phenomenal.
The one thing I noticed in the ISC, they didn't have the quick loot interaction. You remember that menu where it kind of showed your loadout and the enemy or whoever you're looting's loadout, and you could quickly drag and drop things in between. I didn't see that. And they did show, looting magazines off of people, grabbing med pins and stuff like that. So, I wonder where that quick interact system or the looting system is with this new interaction.
Right. Yeah. Does it come in as a package deal?
It might be like the push and pull coming after the EVA update. It's.
I hope not. It might be.
I hope
not.
I feel like it's probably going to be, since we didn't see it in ISC, because, or unless there's some way to toggle the quick looting on and off, and they just didn't mention that or talk about it. But
or maybe it'll be next week's ISC, because we've got 4 months of ISC. It turns out before 323 hits.
Yeah, the new interaction system looks great. Don't get me wrong. Like, it's needed. It looks way better than what we have. Like you said, it's frustrating as hell to just even try and loot a magazine off of a dead enemy right now. So
it's awful. It's awful.
Yeah. So, I mean, the way you were able to just look at the magazine, hit F, and it just equipped it straight to your chest was great. But yeah, I wonder if they got rid of that they showed at CitizenCon and just went with the straight up, like, looking at it, grab it instead. But yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll see.
Yeah. I I'm very happy that it does seem like the features coming in 323 over from Squadron 42. So many of them are going to be quality of life, because we've only talked about two topics, right? From this ISC, EVA, and the UI updates. But more than likely, we're going to get the new star map with 323. I think it's kind of safe to say, right? And that's going to be another huge quality of life update. We might get that mini map that they showed yet again in ISC this week.
I think as part of this, I think the star map should come. I don't know. I could be way wrong here, since there seem to be rolling this out in sections, but I feel like the star map is all going to happen at once. And I still don't know if it's coming with 323. I like your optimism, but I don't know.
Hey man, apparently it's been in Squadron for some time now, right? So
yeah,
how much porting over does it take?
That's the I'm glad ISC is back, and those were two features I've been looking forward to, for sure. But I thought the first ISC back, after this hiatus with this watershed year that they're about to have and all these features coming in, it was just going to be like, punch you in the face, like, here's the star map coming in 2 months. And like, I guess I was expecting a little more hype from it. But maybe they're trying to, maybe they have 4 months of content worth to fill. So maybe they're trying to trickle it in a little bit.
Well, I wonder if maybe the one of the big hype episodes of ISC for the season, so to speak, is going to be either next week or week after, because I think it's next week that the roadmap roundup is happening, or update,
is it?
or whatever.
I know they do the beginning of the year roadmap update, but I didn't know what week it was supposed to be.
Yeah, there was a tweet put out on the Star Citizen account, but it got buried. I only saw it because of interaction that was happening in the comments thread, where somebody was being a little snarky. But let me find that again real quick. Here it is. All right, so the next update is going to be on the 7th. Yeah, February 7th.
Okay.
So
we should have a lot to talk about next week then, if they're going to announce all the features coming in this Q1 patch.
Yeah. Oh, so that announcement of February 7th, I see why this person was frustrated now. It wasn't like a typical just standalone tweet. It was a reply. So they posted, I guess, This Week in Star Citizen tweet. And then somebody was like, when is the first roadmap roundup of 2024? And then they just replied with, it'll be released on February 7th, but it was never made its own separate post. So almost nobody saw that.
Okay.
It's got
264
views. So
breaking news here on the CommLink podcast.
Yeah. Not technically, but for all intents and purposes.
Yeah. That's good news. But yeah, maybe the ISC next week will be a little juicier.
Yeah, I just figured they want to have that 323 update card out there before they start to blast too much of it on ISC.
That makes sense. That makes sense. I really hope the star map comes with 323, and I guess we'll find out next week. But I did notice the mini map in some of those clips on ISC this week. Some of them didn't have it. So maybe they recorded these things on different builds of they're working on or whatever. So that seeing that in the clips of the new interaction system and stuff, might be a little hint towards it coming in 323.
Yeah. And you mentioning that the mini map wasn't all those clips, that they might have been using different builds. I also wonder if they'll give us the option to toggle off the mini map, and it just so happens whoever was playing for that recorded footage might have been a player that toggled it off. I don't know if we'll have that level of customization with our HUD or not, but
That's true too.
but who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah, 323 is what we're going to be talking about for seemingly at least the next 3 or 4 months.
Yeah.
So
When they said 4 months of ISC right there at the beginning of the episode, I was like, hold on a second.
yeah.
But yeah.
This week we got CIG sort of waking up again in respect to giving us more of this community content, right? Because we'll also have Star Citizen Live back tomorrow.
And it's all about 323, so hopefully it'll have some juicy stuff in it.
Yeah, it's also all about 323. But for them just coming back and warming up the engines again, so to speak, and revving up for this 323 drop. I enjoyed the bit of info that we got this week, but like you, I am still looking forward to the big meat and potatoes of 323.
Yeah, and I'm also holding out hope that we might get another Pyro playtest maybe this month or before 323. I know they're trying to test replication layer a lot right now. So I don't know what their schedule between that and Pyro would be. But yeah, I would like some more news on Pyro for sure.
Yeah, they don't seem to be giving a ton of heads up before these preview channel sessions either. So I mean, who knows? Pyro might have a preview channel session in 2 weeks, and we won't know until sometime next week, or even maybe just a couple days before it goes live. If they decide to run it over the weekend and they don't say anything until Thursday or whatever. But yeah, I'm curious what the cadence of those preview channel sessions are going to be going forward too.
Well,
I was hoping they were going to have Pyro pop up again on the preview channel either over Christmas break or early January. Well, Christmas came and went, January came and went, and still not another Pyro preview.
Yeah, they did run the replication layer test, and have you seen how that's been going?
Only replication stuff I've seen is just from the stuff CIG's put out, but I've not seen like anybody stream it or what have you.
Well, this wasn't part of what we were planning to talk about, but since we're on the topic, I have checked out a couple of I was watching Salty Mike the other day watch other people's like Spectrum posts from like playing in the replication layer and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't had a chance to jump in and play any myself to experience the crash and recovery and all that. But from the videos that I watched him watch, it seemed like people were having, decent amounts of success with it. There are some weird edge cases though, like when you're in an armistice zone, the armistice zone doesn't come back right away. So you're like, you're floating around a station, you crash, you're sitting there, you're frozen, the server spins back up, and I think there's it might have been as much as like 30 seconds or more of time before the armistice zone kicks in. So there's a lot of potential for people to screw around in stations with guns and do unintended things while that's happening.
Yeah, that's interesting. Okay, so it takes a little while for armistice to warm back up. I wonder why that is.
Yeah, so I'm sure that's something they're going to fix before it goes to live, but that is one of the issues in the testing environment right now. Elevators seem to be weird with it sometimes.
In what way? Like them not moving after the server comes back up, like not functioning?
Yeah. The examples I saw were mostly in bunkers.
Okay.
So like while the server was crashing, recovering, doing its thing, the elevator would like flash. Like it's there, it's not there, it's there, it's not there. And then, it's a 50-50 whether or not when it recovers, the elevator's actually there or not.
Not those bunker elevators not being reliable. What?
Yeah, no way. I've never had an issue with that. Never had an issue with the bunker elevator. But yeah, and one guy, he tractor beamed the elevator floor while it was glitching in and out, and that seemed to fix it for some reason. Whether or not that was just a weird coincidence or if that actually fixed it or not, we don't know.
Right.
But I did see that happen. And what else was there? Oh, you lose missions currently when the server crashes and it comes back. So that's a big one they got to fix.
Okay.
Because, if you're in the middle of a mission, you're down in a bunker, server crashes, recovers, you're still there, but you no longer have the mission. So now you're trespassing. The guards are hostile.
Yeah.
You don't have, so
it needs to somehow recover your legal status too that you had pre-crash.
Yeah,
that's jacked up if that happens for sure.
Yeah. So we've seen, in the past they've had, we can crash now and most of the time get back to where we crashed from, but you still don't have your missions if you leave the server and come back. So hopefully that's something they're tying into the back end currently with the replication layer, because that 100% can't happen when it's quote unquote working and in live. If we have people crashing out and losing missions altogether, that's kind of defeats the whole purpose almost.
Yeah, no, that'll ruin play sessions.
Yeah. So
end up doing just as much, if not more damage than what would have happened had it just been a crash today, pre-replication layer. So
yeah, so it looks like it is, it is working in some capacity, but there's weird edge cases and armistice zone emissions and stuff they have to fix.
More time needed in the oven.
For sure. So
let them cook.
They definitely got to cook. And so who knows whether we see another replication layer test first or a pyro preview or what they're working on back there, but hope we get some good news here soon.
Yeah, for sure. I really do think that a lot of the goals they've set for 2024, they will be able to hit. So I still have that enthusiasm or optimism or excitement for the year overall. But as we're getting further and further away from October and CitizenCon, I think it's sinking in a little bit more with me. Just the reality of CIG in the past that, things get pushed back, right? And maybe they won't be as severely now that they've got more devs and resources available for work on the PU. But I think a lot of this stuff is going to get pushed back. Like, especially hearing what you just said about replication layer, maybe they'll have huge breakthroughs between now and summertime. But if not, and if replication layer is still causing the sort of issues that you described, I don't see that being ready for a 4.0 summer release.
Yeah,
I don't think it's going to be a huge shock to anybody, things getting pushed back by any means. But I think it's almost it feels like right now, as of recording, it feels like a certainty that we're not going to get Pyro this summer.
No, it's been a internal joke here for a while now. Pyro for Christmas for the past 3 years,
something like that. Yeah.
So
at least 3. At least.
So
3.
I think this year might actually be the Pyro for Christmas year. I would love it if it came out this summer, but I just
Yeah.
being realistic, I don't see it happening.
Yeah, for sure. Like I said, I think most stuff that they're targeting for 2024 is going to happen, but it's not going to be everything just home run after home run after home run. I think with the way the things are going to be released, there's going to be issues. There's going to be new bugs popping up that need to be squashed, and old ones popping up again that haven't been seen in a while. More than likely, it's going to take a lot of work this year, a lot of work, and I'm glad that the CIG team or teams, the people that at least they put on camera seem enthusiastic. They seem optimistic about the work that they're doing, and that gives me some hope as well that they're going to hit goals this year. I just don't know if it's going to be on their ideal timetable.
Yeah, they always shoot for the moon and usually fall a little bit short, but
Yeah. Hey,
We'll see.
did you also want to talk about the Dark Forest video that's been going around?
I feel like that could be a whole episode. I could go
Do
on
you?
for hours about that. Yeah.
Oh wow, okay. So you've got
Yeah.
way more to say about it than I do.
Yeah.
Because I watched it and my takeaway was reputation system, and either it's going to be worth a damn or it's not.
Yeah.
Like that's
So
the answer to all of it.
for anybody that's curious, there I think it was Voidy Vids put out a video this week titled something along the lines of "Is Star Citizen a Dark Forest?" And there's that Dark Forest theory, might be a theory, whatever it's called. Basically that, if there's other civilizations in space, other intelligent species, they either choose to remain silent or they would be hostile if they ever met another intelligent civilization. So the idea is that in Star Citizen, like some other survival games, DayZ, Rust, it's sort of a dark forest where, you see another player and you either hide from them or you immediately attack. There's no interaction. There's no trying to help each other. It's just either hide or kill before you're killed. And he has a really interesting video on it. He, I think it's about a 10-minute long video, talks about Dark Forest, how it relates to Star Citizen. And then Salty Mike did a react to that. I watched that also, and he has some good points on it. But yeah, I think the reputation definitely plays into it, but there's a lot of other things, like death of a spaceman, your equipment, how looting works, base building, trading, it all ties in, piracy, it all ties in together to facilitate the kind of interaction you're going to get in Star Citizen, which rep is definitely like a major part of it. But yeah, I could go on for a while about different points, I think, of how Star Citizen could either push it towards that dark forest or help it, be more of a place where players work together.
Yeah, I mean, if you've got that much on it, I think I would like to do a standalone episode on that then, because like I said, right now I don't get it. I don't, based off of what they've said about reputation system, what they want to do with different degrees of law enforcement and various systems. I can see the argument made that a place like Pyro is a dark forest. Sure, it's a lawless system, but Terra's not going to be a dark forest.
Yeah, and that's part
not
of it,
a dark forest right now.
Yeah, so we can sit here and that's one of my favorite parts about Star Citizen is theory crafting and talking about how things could be and how they can craft this game that we all want to play. But yeah, I think like I said, the planetary system, the system jump points, reputation. I feel like it all plays together to make how players are going to interact with each other in the environment.
This might be good, and this is something we talk about more, I guess, all fair. This might be a good topic to bring in somebody else for as well, and have another guest on, just to get one more perspective on it. Because there's a conversation there worth having. I just don't think overall the game's going to be a dark forest if they're able to deliver on the things that they've talked about.
I think it is. I think it is right now, mostly,
Yeah.
But I have a lot of ideas and a lot of thoughts on ways they could screw it up and make it where it would be a dark forest, and ways that they can facilitate player interactions.
Yeah, and I wonder if in my head I'm not conflating this Star Citizen Dark Forest theory with the people that are just adamantly anti-PvP in game. They do not want to participate in PvP whatsoever. Because if it's a lot of those same people, like, I don't know what to tell you other than find a different game.
Yeah,
there's going to be PvP. Like, and if that changes, that's going to be CIG completely going back on their word.
Yeah.
So
yeah, there doesn't need to be
they've been open about that from the start,
Yeah, there doesn't need to be an opt out from PvP option. There doesn't need to be non-PvP servers. I think that would be a huge detriment to the game and how it plays. But yeah,
I also get the sentiment too, though, of like people don't want to, always have their PvP interactions be kill on sight. Let it play out a little bit. And that's the beauty of like what they do with the GTA and Red Dead RP servers. But that's, I don't know how you would facilitate gameplay like that through purely gameplay mechanics. You know what I mean? Because so for instance, maybe it's just two different topics, because I don't think everybody coming to Star Citizen is necessarily wanting to role play. I don't think those are necessarily all the same players that are wanting to avoid PvP. But for CIG to pull off Star Citizen not being a dark forest, and for that to be their ultimate goal, I think they, we'll talk about it more later, but I think they just have to deliver on reputation and law.
Yeah, that's going to be the big chunk of it, and major thing they have to bring in is reputation and improve the law system and stuff like that. So yeah, it's everybody's going to approach the game differently, no matter what mechanics are in place. So for some people, no matter what, that's going to be their just derogative. That's how they play the game. They don't interact, or they attack first. But there are ways that CIG can design systems to facilitate interactions and helping other players and doing things together, to where that is more beneficial to both people than just killing on sight.
Right. Yeah, it's interesting to think about how they're going to be able to balance these different systems and pull off the game to where it's not. Yeah, I think what was said a lot in that video in particular was Call of Duty in space. I think maybe it would be a bit more like DayZ in space, but the point's made. Yeah. I would actually.
That's another thing
it's
about
going to happen anytime soon, but I would love somebody from CIG to comment on that video.
Yeah, and I don't know. It's one of those things that, you know, you can have a bunch of ideas about it, but then like us having a discussion about it, I could, you know, learn things from you, how you feel about it, or how I feel about it, or ways I haven't thought about it before, that change my opinion on it through a conversation, you know. So it's not
right.
I don't have like, you know, all my ideas on a spreadsheet or anything. So it's just an interesting conversation to have, because they can do so many different things. Between, you know, Death of a Spaceman is one we talk about a lot and hasn't been mentioned in a long time. But, you know, it's like, I feel like some of the best examples of games that are Dark Forest, are like DayZ and Rust, you know, because those games, it's usually either shoot first or be killed, and most of that comes down to, you know, you spend all these hours looting, building stuff up, and then in an instant you can be back to zero. So having, you know, it's kind of a double-edged sword, you know, having a fallback on gear, or, you know, a semi good starting place where you're not starting back from zero every time you die.
Yeah.
That can make people more likely to interact, because, you know, if the interaction goes wrong, they don't totally lose everything and, you know, have to start back from zero and go through all those steps again. But then it could also, you know, it could make people want to attack more, because they're like, well, screw it, I'll attack this person, and if I die,
also have less to lose.
Yeah, they don't have anything to lose. So it's you know, I haven't even thought this through like fully in my head, because there's so many like edge cases, and, you know, different ways people will see different situations, and so I don't want it to be like DayZ, where, you know, you see a person off in the distance and you're either like, well, I've either got to kill them or I've got to go the other way. Because even when I play DayZ, I usually try and interact first. And, you know, probably 7-8 times out of 10, it doesn't work, because they just shoot first, ask questions later. And, you know, sometimes that's okay, because you can incapacitate people. You know, and I think that might be another thing CIG can do, you know, like, they've upped the time to kill. So, you see somebody that think they might be dangerous, you can incapacitate them, take their weapons from them, and then have a conversation. You don't have to go straight to murder. You know, you can, maybe they're here just trying to complete a mission, but you want to play it safe. So you take out your stun gun, you knock them out, take their weapons, and you're like, hey buddy, I just didn't know what you were doing here. You looked kind of sus. So, and then maybe you guys do a mission or something together. But there's so many things CIG can do to either facilitate it or kill player interactions. And one of the biggest things is VoIP. CIG. The VoIP has to work 100% of the time. And right now it doesn't. I feel like you could have a lot of good interactions in the game right now, but 90% of the time it's talking in global chat.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to have a conversation with somebody in global chat where 98 other people can read it. Like that's a whole other issue, is VoIP not working, but yeah, that VoIP working would be step number 1 towards facilitating a non-Dark Forest environment. And I don't know if it's a well, we could fix it now, but when server mission comes in, we'll have to redo it later, so we're not doing it now. If it's something like that, or if it's something where they're like, we don't know what's breaking it, so we're just not going to talk about it.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. VoIP's an issue in the game for sure. I wonder if that'll be on the 323 list of features, VoIP improvements.
I'm gonna say no, but I would.
People have been making noise about it though. I see people talk about it a lot, especially lately, like the past few months online. I've seen the topic of VoIP being busted come up again and again and again.
Maybe we should start a tweet. Tweeting CIG every day until they fix VoIP day one. And just do it every single day, and maybe by this time next year it'll be fixed.
Get blocked after a week.
Jared's just like, fuck these guys. But yeah, there's definitely a big conversation to have there, and a lot of it, like you were talking about, ties back to reputation, and I think a lot of the game, not just interactions with people, but I think at the core of the game, you need reputation.
Mm-hmm.
For traders, you need reputation with trading guilds. For miners, you need reputation with mining guilds. You need reputation with bounty hunting guilds. And if you're a bad person, you don't get those missions. That point blank, if you're a murder hobo and you have a lot of homicides on your record, you should just straight up not get lawful missions.
Right.
Like that should just be a choice you have to make. Do I want to be a pirate and be able to kill people and take these illegal missions? Or do I want to, play by the rules, or, a fine line there where you're not just murdering people, but yeah.
You got to keep in mind too that even on the pirate side of things, like you're not just going to be able to murder whatever pirate as well, because you're going to lose reputation with different gangs, and then all of a sudden different gangs start to hate you more. Then it's on site for you when you're around. Like if they plug all that stuff into the game, and if it functions well, like I think a lot of these Dark Forest concerns are just, I don't know. Thinking about it too much right now.
Reputation could definitely change how a lot of the game is played, especially how PvP engagements go. And like you just said, even in Pyro, if you don't get a crime stat, you should lose affiliation with certain gangs if you're on their territory and don't have permission to be there and kill someone. They're not going to like you.
You can't land here. You can't shop here. You can't do business with us. You can't get missions from here. Yeah.
You should have come to us and asked permission to be doing what you were doing in our territory. And since you didn't, go somewhere else.
And you're still going to get people where that's not going to be enough, but it's going to be so few people. You know what I mean? And I mean, if we're going for immersion, I mean, there's killers out there in the real world, you stay frosty.
But they don't go in another gang's, they don't go in another gang's territory and start murking people.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Or that gang will take care of them. So it needs to, obviously this isn't real life, but it needs to somewhat behave that way for the reputation system to work.
You can't just join a cartel and then start to kill a bunch of the other cartel members and expect the cartel to be like, no, this is fine. We're bad guys. We're cool with this. No, they don't want, you know what I mean? Yeah.
So, or maybe you're just, killing people in Stanton for no reason whatsoever. And even then they're like, okay, you're not just a pirate. You're a terrorist, or whatever they want to call it.
Yeah.
So even though we're a gang and we do nefarious stuff, you're a little out there, dude. So go somewhere else. I think that's going to be a big.
And then you'll end up with some lone wolves out there, and that helps to keep it interesting in a game environment.
Yeah, and that's where. I don't think they're ever going to let you have multiple characters on your account, but I guess that's where multiple accounts come into play. You have your bad boy account, and then you have your normal account, where you do most of your stuff, base building, yada, yada. Then you have the one where you go screw around and just, pirate people, blow people up. You're affiliated with gangs. Yeah. If that's what you want to do, a lot of people I don't think will have that duality of like both.
Some people are just going to show up for space trucking. You know what I mean? Like that's totally valid and legit. But yeah, I think once you start to have some real long-term consequences for your actions in game, you'll probably start to see even more people start to pick up alt accounts to do some bad boy business on. But again, though, I think it'll be, as long as everything's functioning, I think reputation and updates to security and systems. I just said systems plural, like we even have multiple systems right now. But once they continue to include these things in the game and iterate on them, it should be enough to where it's not a total dark forest.
And like you mentioned, there's supposed to be multiple systems: high sec, medium sec, low sec. Mm-hmm. Low sec being Pyro, high sec being something like Terra, and this is take a big hit because this is probably way far off. But once multiple systems are in, you should be able to choose how you want to play. Do you want to have to always watch out for PvPers and make a lot of money? You go to Pyro. If you want to, kind of make decent money, but probably not get attacked, maybe get attacked, go to somewhere like Stanton. If you want to, to space truck, put some music in and not have to deal with anybody, go to Terra, do whatever there, and you'll be safe because of the overwhelming military presence, which a lot of people are, all the turrets don't work now. They're, we have UEE in Stanton, but they don't respond, and that's a whole other conversation. But, if everything's working, server meshing gets in, AI is very tactical, responding, on it. Stanton, you might have a 5-minute response time. In Terra, you got 30 seconds before the cops are there.
Mm-hmm.
So
right.
That's the ideal Star Citizen world, in my opinion, is, instead of having a PvP slider or people having to fear engagements or interactions, you can kind of choose what sort of interactions you're going to get by the different systems you play in, which, and that and reputation and, law systems and everything working together is how it's going to facilitate this more of a, GTA, like we're probably never going to have RP servers, but, more people interacting and behaving like they would in real life instead of,
Yeah. It's going to be an interesting year and looking forward to keeping track of it all. We'll see what they do with the roadmap next week. Looking forward to that. And then, of course, just tomorrow, I'm really interested in seeing what they have to say on Star Citizen Live. So
yeah,
find
that was
out
a
here soon.
Little tangent on the Dark Forest there. Do we want to talk about this month in Star Citizen real quick before we wrap it up?
Sure.
Yeah, we got a couple of things going on this month. Obviously, Siege is running until the 5th. And then we have some in-game lore events. Coremore.
Get your envelopes.
Coremore 2954, the Valentine's Day event is coming up. And then the Red Festival, the Lunar New Year, where you get all the red envelopes and turn them in for money and all that good stuff is coming up. What else did they have on there? Bar Citizen World Tour.
Yeah,
coming up.
Bar Citizen, they mentioned the Barcelona one. Free Fly is going to be coming back this month as well.
Yep, they gave a Free Fly notice, but no dates yet. So
Right.
not exactly sure what days that's coming. A new referral bonus. Get some new fancy armor and a dragonfly for referral bonuses this month. That's nice. And Jumptown.
Yep, Jumptown is coming back. So I don't know. There's some stuff going on this month. Enough to keep us busy. When Jumptown comes back online, I think I want to check it out this time around. I've passed on it the past couple of times that they've been running Jumptown. So I think this month would be a good opportunity to dive back in and see how that's feeling.
This last iteration they did where they put it in some new locations, had some performance issues, especially the one on Hurston around the water.
Was that the one that was on an island?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
I saw it having, some frame issues and stuff. But hopefully that's some stuff they've ironed out for this next one. And maybe we can find some people to participate in it with, because, going as a duo, you can't really do a whole lot at Jumptown.
You take out Red Lear.
I think was it just the two of us that time?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You can be sneaky with two people, I guess, but
especially against Red Lear.
FPS God.
It's gonna start beef with Red Lear for killing him one time in the game.
Yeah, but
just kidding.
Like
Love to have you on the show.
Yeah, hit us up. We'll be here. Looks like a decent month. I don't really do a whole lot for Lunar New Year, and Coremore is just kind of there. But
I don't know if I've picked up a single envelope in Star Citizen ever.
Yeah, they usually come out with some nice ship skins at that time, if that's your sort of thing.
Now, how does that work? You get the envelope, you get the ship skin, or you get the envelope, you now have the opportunity to buy the ship skin from the store?
No. The envelope is just a in-game like monetary UEC thing.
Okay.
Yep. You just pick them up and then you can go to like a terminal and sell them for money. Unless
what does that have to
that.
do? That doesn't have anything to do with ship skins then?
No, they just usually put out some nice like red and gold paints during this time that you can pick up.
I thought maybe they were rewards for the event. Okay.
Nah, I don't think so. But yeah.
Yeah, that'd be too cool.
Maybe one day.
But yeah, so February is going to be, it looks like a decent month for the game. Obviously, we're going to be getting more of the video content every week from the team working with Jared over there at ISC and SCL. Roadmap Roundup, again, that's going to be, I think, huge for next week. So I'm really, really excited to see what all is revealed,
Yeah, and if we went on that little Dark Forest tangent, so if you made it that far in the episode and you want to talk about it in the comments, I'm more than happy to have a discussion about it, or tell us your thoughts about it, and maybe we'll go a little more in depth. We talked about it a fair amount right there, but maybe we'll do it again with a guest or something if that's something the viewers would be interested in. But let us know.
Yeah, there's definitely more to say on that. So yeah, and like I said, I would like to get a third opinion on. I'm sure there's some people that we can reach out to, and someone will be interested, because it is a worthwhile conversation, I think, for the game. So yeah, I'd be down for more of that too. Definitely let us know if that's something that you want. And then also let us know, how soon do you think we're actually going to see 323 hit live? Do we think that this thing is going to be coming in March, in April, May, June, further than that? Who knows?
Only Chris knows.
But yeah, only Chris. All right. And with that, thanks everybody for tuning in to this week's episode of the CommLink Podcast. Again, quick reminder, if you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel so you get updates on when future episodes are released. We also have Star Citizen and Squadron 42 reaction videos on our YouTube channel as well. as the CommLink alerts too. So that's where when they put out major publications, ship Q&As, or a big newsletter, a monthly report, all of that good stuff that's given to us in text format on the Rubber Space Industry website. We read aloud on CommLink Alert. So if you don't want to sit down or you just don't have the time to read through the stuff, hey, I'll read it for you. You can just listen. Just keep driving. It's all right. I got you covered. So anyway, Silvius, thanks as always. Had a good time with this one. And yeah, thanks again for everybody for tuning in at CommLink Pod, Twitter, Instagram. Don't forget about that Rambler giveaway over there on the Twitter page. Get in on it. There's still room.
Lots of room in that Cutter Rambler. Still get in.
It's nice and cozy.
All right. Thanks, everyone. And we will see you next week. Stay safe out there.
Bye-bye.